Welcome to the Meet the Higdon Show, the show where we navigate the challenges of marriage, money, and meaning so you can have the best life and relationship possible. Today we are covering rule number 2 from our new book, our new Hay House book out, Time, Money, Freedom.
Yes.
And rule number 2 of the 10 simple rules to radically and drastically change your life is...
That's not the exact quote. I just want to point out.
Well, it's
radically and drastically.
I made it more dramatic.
It is very dramatic. 10 simple rules to redefine what's possible and radically reshape your life.
Okay, they're dying with suspense here. And rule number 2 is pluck your weeds.
Pluck your weeds. And this has been, I think, the most eye-opening, but also maybe most misunderstood rule. I've heard feedback. So I've had a few people tell me that when they've heard me talk about pluck your weeds, they thought it only applied to human beings. So like if there's someone in your life that's toxic and terrible, just pluck that weed, get rid of them. Like not off them, like not murder them, but get them out of your life in whatever way.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good thing to tell people to do.
Yeah, that's not good coaching. Avoid that.
This guy has 300,000 followers.
and they're slipping by the day.
Yeah.
It means anything in your life. So it could be that you perform your work on a crappy desk. It could be that you want to relocate because you're driving too far, right? And so it could mean anything. It could mean that when you go out, you're not particularly fond of the shoes and get new shoes or whatever, right? And so what's your take on pluck the weeds?
Well, I think we need to back up,
Whoa.
rewind for a second.
Too fast.
And define what a weed is or okay, what that looks like for somebody.
Sure. What is a weed, Jessica?
So a weed is anything in your life that is... So in rule number 1, we talk about getting upset and, that you have a goal and you're frustrated that you haven't gotten there.
Yep.
Right? So in rule number 2, you have this goal and you have to define anything that you have in your life that isn't serving that goal or sucking your energy away or into more negative or unproductive things. So that could be, like you said, anything from, doing the laundry to your mother-in-law or something like that.
Whoa.
Not
Shots fired.
Not that I love my mother-in-law. She's amazing. I'm just saying in general,
Freudian slip
people
there?
No. In general, people tend to disagree with their mother-in-laws. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And not me.
Generally speaking.
Not me at all, ever. On the history of the planet, I've never disagreed.
Now you've gone too far.
Okay,
now it's too far.
But a weed is anything that is not serving your goal and is actually not just not serving it, but taking away from that goal and maybe drawing you further away from it. Because if somebody sucks your energy dry or you have something that you're doing that's taking away from the daily task that you put towards your business, it can be really, really tough to overcome that if you don't identify what it is and pluck it out of your life.
And it may not just be your business. I mean, it could be just joy in your life. It could be a conversation that you're not willing to have because you don't see your own self-worth. Today I was talking to a client who has an employee that works for her that, for the last little bit has been dropping the ball consistently, and it really bugs her. And it's like, you need to have that conversation. And so, when you're not willing to have the tough conversations, you probably have a lot of things that kind of tug at you. They're not catastrophic, but any energy that is being pulled away from where you want to go, whether that's marital bliss, whether it's business success, whether it's whatever, right? Just joy, just sheer joy. That's time taken away from you spending it on what you actually want in your life.
And thinking about what you actually want in your life, if you don't know what you want, it may be hard to define what's stopping you from getting that. And so
just look energetically. What energetically is not pleasing to me? What isn't great? And, are there options around that?
Well, do you think that you might love doing something, but it's not serving you towards your goal. So that's one thing. Is that a weed, or is that something that you can keep in your life and keep doing, even though it's not serving you toward, like, maybe you love eating ice cream.
That's pretty good.
and your goal is to lose 50 pounds, right? But you love eating ice cream, but your goal is to lose 50 pounds. Energetically, it's great. It's fantastic. So it's, you've got to figure out what are you willing to give up? What are you not willing to give up to hit that goal? Yeah. Maybe there's a way.
See, I would, to me, I wouldn't consider that a weed. That's a bad habit. But a weed, when I think about pluck your weeds, it's what is mentally draining, what is something that's pulling you away from what you want. That doesn't include, well, I don't work out. That's a weed. Well, is that a weed or a habit? And so, like, I think there's a difference there. That's just my 2 cents. Because I'm co-author of the book Time, Money, Freedom. 10 simple rules to radically, drastically, and in every way possible blow your damn mind.
That's right. Very good. I think that's exactly what it says.
Hay House approved that.
Yes.
Amazing.
And if you want to get a copy, you can go to your local bookstore and request it.
Support local if you can.
Absolutely. With everything going on, we absolutely want to support local.
So nicely go into the local place and purchase from them. And if they don't have it, demand that they carry it.
Yes. Demand as demandingly as you can.
Son of a... Where's my book?
Yeah. No, don't do that, but ask nicely if they would carry it for you, and they'll order it, and it'll help us, and it'll help you, and it'd be great, and them.
And them, right? Triple win.
So I'll say that first, if you could do that first, or you can go to higdongroup.com/bonuses, and we have an Amazon link on there as well.
Yeah. And Christmas right around the corner. And if you buy multiple copies, you could get some bonuses.
Yes.
Which would be amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what else around Pluck Your Weeds? We've had this little tiff and disagreement around whether it's eating ice cream or not working out, which...
I just think, just look at your energy.
Yeah.
Just look at... it down to the smallest detail, because I really feel like when you say, you know what, I'm worthy to feel fantastic. I'm worthy to not have to write, like something that, Mark Hoverson used to talk about is he would chastise me for using cheap pens. He's like, you use these pens to write millions of dollars in checks. Use a nice pen. And so if you energetically, I don't even think about it when I write a pen, to be honest. But if you energetically surround yourself with the cheapest of things, why should you have millions of dollars if that's your goal? And so, like, just energetically, is there something that you use on a daily basis? If there's, with us, we sold our house so that we could be closer to more families with kids and closer to Sabrina's school, because one of our weeds, mainly yours, was driving 45 minutes one way each day, twice a day. And so, I don't know if I said that right, 45 minutes one way, twice a day, each day. Yes. There we go. Nailed it. And so that was a weed. And that's, how can you start to think about the solving of issues rather than just settling? I'll just do this. Whatever. Absolutely. I don't like this person that I work with because they treat me this way, but I'll just deal with it. Instead, have the conversation or conjure up a scenario where you're no longer around that person.
And what if, first, actually, I'll give you an example of a small weed that I plucked, but it was hard for me to pluck, which was getting help with the kids.
Yes.
And it's not that my kids were the weed. I want to be very clear.
Don't eliminate kids.
They do not eliminate
We're very
kids.
pro kids.
We're very pro kids. Yeah. Do not eliminate the kids. The kids weren't the weed. It was just the time that I was spending on things that they wouldn't even remember was the weed. Like, their laundry or making, their bottles or those little tiny tasks that I could get help for. And so, as a mom, sometimes it's really hard to pluck that weed. no matter how small it may be, maybe you just need an hour a day of your time back. But at the end of the day, your kids, like you told me when we were having this conversation, your kids aren't going to remember that.
No.
They're going to remember who came to their baseball games.
Right.
They're going to remember who came to their cheerleading practice, who was there for them to play with them and have that one-on-one time every day. So
no one ever says, man, I just really remember my mom doing my laundry. Oh, it was so awesome. Like, they don't care who does the laundry. They don't even notice the laundry's done. And so, why, again, something that Overson said is he didn't want Shani, his wife, Cinderellaing around and then being tired at night for date night.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, that was, so well put.
Absolutely. And so with Pluck Your Weeds, I think we should definitely talk about this is what if the weed is your spouse? And here's the thing about weeds is it's usually not the person in his or her entirety.
Right. Hopefully not.
Or hopefully not. It's
I
usually
detest every piece of them.
Right. It's usually something around the person.
Yeah.
Or a specific thing that they do that is a weed to you. And so my suggestion, then I'll get yours, but my suggestion is identifying what that is and having the conversation or finding a way that you can turn that into gratitude. So if they have a tendency to not want you to go do your prospecting, okay, let's say, or not want you to go out to a meeting, and they tend to bring you down every time you go out to a meeting, they say, you'll never make it or whatever. Well, one, have the conversation around that, okay? And two, understand that maybe there's a reason they're saying that to you. And it's deeper than just they don't want you to make it. Every spouse wants you to make it. That'd be silly if they didn't want you to. So it's deeper than that. It could be around how they're feeling internally. It could be around something that you have or have not done to fulfill on promises.
Yeah. And
you have to be very straightforward and honest with yourself. So having that conversation and then thinking of the good things about them, all the great things that they've brought to your life and all the amazing qualities that they have. And maybe this one thing isn't so bad. And maybe mentally you can change it from a weed to something different.
A beautiful flower.
A beautiful flower.
So, yeah, I like all of that. I joke that I detest all of them, but the reality is resentment doesn't go away. And if non-talked about resentment only grows, it doesn't go away. And so I do think if you have something that you resent that they do or say or how they show up, I think that starts to grow. And then you're annoyed by how they eat their cereal. And then you're annoyed because they didn't do this. And so resentment is very dangerous. If you have something that you resent about the other person that they do to you or say to you, then you should definitely bring that up. I've given this advice to quite a few people, not couples actually, but where I say, hey, just start taking the time to every day write down 10 things you're grateful for about them. And don't tell them. Don't say, here I am writing all these grateful things about you, don't rub it in their face or whatever, but take the time each day to write down things you're grateful for about that other person. And it's amazing how without saying a word, they can feel more appreciated and actually show up differently. And so I've seen that. I don't know that I've ever actually had someone do that and they actually did it and it didn't change. And so that's pretty cool. And that's an easy way that if you want the relationship to work out, that's one way.
I love that. That's awesome. Do you do that with me?
I have hundreds of things that I am so grateful for about you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Can I see them?
No, they're secret.
Oh, they're secret.
They're a secret library in the west wing of the house.
Oh.
What are you doing?
I'm looking at the book to see what our next rule is that we're going to talk about next week.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Carry on.
Well, appreciate you all tuning in.
Don't show the coffee stain.
I will not. You show the coffee stain every time. when you do a video. I'm doing
That's
this very
masterful
strategically.
holding. That's a masterful
So for
holding
those
of
of
that
you
book.
listening on audio, we're actually recording a video of this, and every time Ray shows this book, we have a coffee stain on our first copy.
And if you would like to get this video as amazing as I know that it is, you can text 239-829-9871 and just say rule number 2 and we'll send it to you.
What's that number again?
239-829-9831.
Awesome. So next week, we're going to be talking about rule number 3, take your why and turn it into your vision.
Yes.
Which I'm very excited about. And again, if you want to get a copy of Time, Money, Freedom, you can go into your local bookstore and request it. And helps us, helps them, and helps you.
And if they don't have it, just do a sit-in. Just like sit there. I'm not moving until you have this book on these shelves.
Oh my God. The comments on this are going to be nuts. Don't do that. Just nicely request the book.
Pretty please.
Pretty please. Or you can go to higdengroup.com/bonuses and order it on Amazon. But you know, Amazon gets so much business. I think it'd be cool to just go into your local bookstore.
If you can.
If you can. And
if you cannot, definitely order from Amazon immediately. Or you know, there's other online bookstores too. Barnes & Noble. Your mom.
Yeah, true. Online Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
But higdengroup.com/bonuses is a great way to get it. And right now, you should pull out a pen and paper, write down some weeds that you currently have in your life, and whether that's for your relationship, for your business, for even your kids. Maybe there's some weeds that's keeping you from goals with your kids.
Yeah.
And write those down and figure out a way that you can pluck those from your life so that you can move into having the life that you desire. So.
Yeah. And you know you had something come up. You can't hear this and be like, nope, everything great over here. There's something that came up. And so what are those 1, 2, or 3 things that you're like, you know what? I've been meaning to address this. I need to. And
weeds change. They don't just stay the same. Yeah. You know, as you get to new levels and new heights, you have new weeds that come up that you need to pluck. So it's a good exercise and process to go through, not just once, but throughout your career and your lifespan.
Yes. Whatever span your life is.
Correct. Your lifespan. So this has been the Meet the Higdens show, the show where we navigate the challenges of marriage, money, and meaning so you can have the best life and relationships possible. And we are very excited. Like I mentioned, next week we'll be talking about rule number 3, which is turn your why into your vision.
Yes.
And Ray is a master at creating your vision. If you don't have a vision, then it can be difficult to stay consistent. And so we're going to be talking about that next week. I hope that you share this podcast if you loved it. If you didn't, just don't say anything bad about it. Just don't share it if you don't want to. But if you did love it, please share it.
Yes.
And we appreciate you, and we will see you on the next one.
Thank you so much.